Christian, and today I'm looking at Hebrews chapter 3, starting at verse 12. My friends, be careful that none of you have a heart so evil and unbelieving that you will turn away from the living God. Instead, in order that none of you be deceived by sin and become stubborn, you must help one another every day, as long as the word today in the scripture applies to us. For we are all partners with Christ if we hold firmly to the end the confidence we had at the beginning. Starting these couple scriptures, it sounds kind of ominous, like don't ever turn away from God, watch out what you're doing, don't be so evil and unbelieving. And then I think about the fact that he's actually talking to Christians. He's not talking to unbelievers. He's not talking to people who don't know God. He's talking to people who've actually been walking with God and believe in Jesus, and goes, watch out that you don't find yourself going in the opposite direction. Now, that sounds like a little strange to me, because I go, why would you walk in the opposite direction? And then I think about my own life. And I think about those moments when I was like, I kind of want to be out right now. I kind of want to call it quits at this point. A lot of those points in my life have come in moments where I put time limits on God, where I went, I'm believing that God is going to do such and such and such, and after a while, or when it didn't get done by such and such date, then I was like, well, I mean, what, God, what are you doing? How come it's not happening? How come you're not doing what you said you would do? And it has nothing to do with the fact that he's not doing what he said he would do. He's just not doing it on my timeline. I also find myself remembering moments where I was isolated. And here in verse 13, it says, instead, in order that none of you be deceived by sin and become stubborn, you must help one another every day, as long as the word today in the scripture applies to us. You got to stay in community with other people, because the moment you start isolating yourself, Satan's like, you remember that time when you, or he said he was going to do such and such and he didn't. You can start to hear the voice of Satan so loud when you're by yourself. Isolation is a gigantic killer. And then the third moment I start to think about where I found myself in the situation is distractions. Things that were just a waste of my time, in all honesty. They looked pretty at the time, everybody else was doing it, and so I did it just because I felt like it was the fun thing to do at the time. But all it really did is make me go, God, where are you? God, what's going on? And God's like, I didn't go anywhere. You did. Taking time out in your life to go, I'm making sure that every day, as long as today applies in the scripture, I'm sticking with you. I'm going to make sure that where you are, God, that's where I am. Verse 14 says, for we are all partners with Christ if we hold firmly to the end the confidence we had at the beginning. We get to see all the amazing things that God is going to do, and we get to partake in all of the great things that come from the sufferings of Christ. Not because we're amazing or we've done great things, just because we stick it out to the end. Just always, always, always going, you said you would do it, and I'm trusting you. And that same confidence I had the day you saved me, I'm going to have the day you come back for me. Love you.